poem that I read here before, but I just found out that it is going to be published.
Right.
Appreciate that. Yeah, it's the first poem that I've gotten published, so I'm excited about it. It's called Fish Guys. I stole a glass at Fremont Brewery, but it's patroned by Jeff Bezos, so I didn't feel that bad. In the car, I tree-gazed glass-eyed. My friend said, let's buy a salmon from somewhere not Pike Place. And in the corner of Not Pike Place, a shop that barely fit its line, a man impersonated Elvis. We had decisions to make. Which fish and how much fish, while Elvis sang Sweet Caroline, too loud for us to hear each other. We sang along when he pointed to us, interrupting our deliberation, so we could emulate the horn section. A little miffed when we remembered that Elvis never sang that song. We grilled the fish on cedar planks, because that's authentic. And I have one more. This is about the place that I'm from. It's called Grass-Fed Beef. The Hudson Valley is a term inclusive of every sleepy little hamlet and tucked-in town between Albany and New York City, along both sides of the river that share its name. If you're in Syracuse, you've gone too far. If you're, for some reason, in Connecticut, you've gone too far. Sometimes Hollywood movies are filmed in the Hudson Valley. My dad lent a plastic tarp to the production crew of a Paul Newman film in the 1990s, which made it into the movie. He says that's my tarp when we watch it. More and more wealthy Manhattanites and Brooklynites have moved permanently into their second homes in the region since early 2020. A novelist named Steingart wrote what one magazine called the Great Pandemic Novel, and he set it in the Hudson Valley, where he claims authenticity as a resident since he lived in the region full-time for almost a year. I am from the Hudson Valley, but I live in the Midwest now. Around here, I tell people I'm from like 80 miles north of New York City because this sounds cooler and less fictional. The Hudson Valley was a term rarely used in my childhood. It is used more commonly these days by those migratory Manhattanites yearning for a sense of place. They have named this region, and so now they own it. My brother farms land that he can't afford to live on. He raises grass-fed beef, the type of high-quality food that created the Hudson Valley as a branding moniker to sell things to the Manhattanites who could afford to treat the adjacent as exotic. They enjoyed the beef and the scenic views, so they bought land, brought their CEO incomes, built houses and additions on their houses to store their beef and dozens of windows looking out onto quaint farms which can't in 1,000 years produce half the amount of beef to equal the value of the land as it's now listed in some real estate portfolio because it's so damn scenic and the beef is so good. And I'm mad at this Steingart guy for writing a novel about the Hudson Valley before I could finish mine. I will move back one day, find a nice tarp and settle down, and I'll write a new novel called Milwaukee. Thank you.
That was great, Tim. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Tim. And now we've got, I wanted to say, My Poetry Speaks is going to be having his next feature for us at Poets Monday on the 2nd of May. And he's here tonight. Please welcome My Poetry Speaks.
You all love poetry here?
Yeah.
got called 5 days. It's been 5 days. I've been sober. Behold your applause. The sobriety won't last long at all. See, life is full of bullshit. People throwing bricks and sticks and so I need to fix it. It's been 5 days. When I use, I feel like I need this. It clears my mind and put me in a better place. It turns my frowns upside down and puts a smile on my face. It washes away the hand I've been dealt. As long as I use, I don't need any help. I admit I can't go long without a fix because my brain says I need this. So when I use, I feel like I'll use, been abused, so it's me to hold a whip. So heck yeah, I'm controlling it. I can stop if I want to, but why would I do that? It's been 5 days I've been sober. Behold your applause. The sobriety won't last long at all. I shake in a room with heat, nod off but never fall asleep. I stand without feeling my legs or my feet. It's true, I have dependency, but don't judge me. My anger can be on 10 without relaxation or encourage patience, so it's been 5 days without poetry. But y'all is my witness, I just relapsed. About that some of you been in the same shoes one day, maybe two, but don't judge me because I didn't judge you. See, my truth can be described in metaphors or lies or reality being realized that 5 days may just be a myth. I love poetry and I object, shoot, or smoke it. So to think that I will ever quit or stay away is asinine. To think this could something ever be denying. I put words on my tongue and let them absorb. This isn't a passion, it's a little bit more. My flow comes easy, so I guess I'm the biggest whore. So 5 days is a myth. I love poetry. I'm gonna talk my shit. Thank you.
All right, My Poetry Speaks, May 2nd, 2022. We have Ed Bukowski as our feature. Do you have any books at all, Ed, or? Huh? No? Okay,
Got
cool.
nothing to sell.
All right, cool.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I mean, maybe next time you'll bring some of Brian Quinn's books to sell. Anyway, it turns out Brian Quinn's here. I don't know if he's got any books to sell, but he's here. We haven't seen him for like a COVID length or something. It's been a long time, but he's still got a family. He's still got a couple dogs, at least one or maybe, I don't know. They weren't all that good, but they weren't all that bad. I hope they're okay. Please welcome Brian Quinn. Brian Quinn.
Brian, it's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you.
I think that's the most erotic thing I've ever encountered in the last 18 months.
You need to get out more.
We were quarantined.
We need to get in more.
That's why they call him the
That's what I have. I do have 2 books out there in the world, but I didn't bring any tonight because it's the first night that I've been at Poets Monday in 18 months, and so I'm feeling good, back, woohoo. So I do have, I teach culinary arts, I'm a chef, so that's what I do in my life, and this is what keeps me sane from the insanity this is what keeps me sane from the insanity of cooking and food and all that. So my students just went through their final exams last week, and I am done.
All right, bravo.
8 weeks.
Well done.
Fuck yeah. My grades are entered, I'm set to go. So I'm gonna read one from a book, but I also, because of just life, I haven't written during COVID. I know a lot of people took that opportunity, but I was doing other shit. Obviously not anything rock. But I do have a couple of poems that I did write or try to scratch out, so I'll read a couple of those, but I'm gonna read one from my book. This is called Adam Made of Silt. She'll speak a delicate gravel into your hardened ear on the day you sling in the towel, on the day your dick declares war on her lips. Behind those lips you'll find cement words that have been churning, since your lacquered words made your bed seem appealing, made your bed seem a safer place than her own, suspended high above a doorman and his spirit, and high above the street and its spirit, with his deeper cognac-colored steam tunnels lit by lamps burning dimly of angel's fire. But then again, you're you and she, and now there's a grave in the gravel dirt, just as pale and shallow as Lake Erie pretends to be, until the silted bottom drops out when you are far from shore. When you forget how to swim in the lake, when you find yourself wishing for an ocean for no other reason than the salt, would rather drown with salt in your throat and salt in your lungs than the sickly silt of a lake floor that drops out when you are far from shore. When a serpent breathes the water, when your child finds murder. Wow. That's called sometimes a screech owl, and in one translation of the Bible, Lilith is referred to as a screech owl instead of by Lilith. So this is like me rewriting the Bible. So that was Adam. All right. I tried a prose poem. This one's called Pamphlets. You must begin working your way through that stack of pamphlets you've accumulated, not the mere ditto copied tracts, ragged edge, saddle stapled and left disheveled under telephone poles marred with those abandoned thumbtacks, but those high gloss brochures like the ones found in trifold wall racks mounted outside giant regional maps outside truck stop restrooms. You found these pamphlets in the bottom of your beach bag, under the cheesy snacks and the aerosol sunscreen, neglecting them until you caught yourself reading and rereading and rereading the first page of your great summer read, never thinking that you should get lost in the sounds of the waves. You found them in those faux leather guest checkbooks at family restaurants, or unfolded and used as the kids' coloring placemats, the copy rearranging itself to resemble the large-eyed animals and plates with faces who seemed to beg to be any color other than the three you were given. You found them pressed between things like leaves in a book with your great-aunt's urn on top to give weight, or between the still wet hawthorn yellow paint on your dining room wall, or jangled between the coins piled in your swear jar. You found these pamphlets between long-distance lovers who forgot to call last weekend, and in the quick breaths of a fox cornered inside the windmill at last year's mini golf course. You found these pamphlets pristine with their shape, their sheen, their edges sharp. These pamphlets are distributed by slick individuals wearing purple sunglass protectors and string-thin ties who store them rubber-banded and in bankers' boxes in the trunks of dusty palmetto mist-colored Oldsmobiles that require nickel-round keys to unlock. The crisp, folded state maps splayed by order of admission into the Union across the roomy back seat are for appearances only. None of them reveal the invisible spiderweb roadways that they use to move unseen from one between to the next. They traverse this great land, their banker boxes never empty of pamphlets, distributing to us only the most up-to-date culture. They blur in the shine of each sea, their glasses majestic reflectors of every mountain, their hair the very definition of amber. And because it's been so long, somewhere along the way, Mr. Lindemann changed the Wi-Fi password, so I couldn't access what I wanted to access here. So give me one quick second and I'll be out of the way. Okay, now it's getting awkward. Oh, there you go. All right. Unlike Erica's inverse, all of mine are titled and only a couple aren't. Empty bar, but for me, drinking or maybe not. I do not recall ordering or even what time a home expects me. I've heard it said haunted, but I've never seen anything except for that one with the wild hair who ordered a drink and left it at my table to keep me unoffended.
I like that. Thank you.